Coming up, we're going to be talking about the Sequential Circuits Prophet VS, an amazing synthesizer with a lot of sonic potential. Stick around and check it out. Hello, I'm Roland Bettis. This is Alamo Music Sound Lab. Be sure to check us out at alamomusic.com. We've got a lot of info on that website, and we've got a lot of videos coming up in the future for some really awesome synthesizers. Be sure to check us out. This is the Sequential Circuits Prophet VS. For when it first came out, it was kind of an oddball because it combined digital and analog technology inside. There's 4 oscillators, and each oscillator has 127 waveforms. Some digital, some very typical like sawtooth, pulse, sine wave. But the real beauty about this synthesizer is not only the analog filter, which Sequential is kind of known for, but the fact that those digital waveforms can sound completely different than any other Prophet synthesizer. Those 4 oscillators that are built in can be manipulated real time with this joystick right over here. Here we have A, B, C, and D. So as you kind of move the joystick from one end to another, you're blending all these 4 different oscillators at any type of point. Or dead center is all 4 oscillators going at the same time. Pretty outstanding, pretty unique, and I'm sure you might have seen this somewhere else before. Korg made a synthesizer called the Wave Station, which was really popular back in the 90s. And it did incorporate 4 oscillators of digital texture with the joystick to kind of modulate between them all. It's kind of funny because the Prophet VS was kind of like the predecessor to that Wave Station. Now, of course, the Wave Station, as awesome as it was, didn't sound nearly as mean and awesome as a Prophet VS. This definitely is a Prophet synthesizer. Sonically, I think if you selected, say for example, sawtooth and pulse on all 4 oscillators, you'd get a pretty massive tone that would rival any Prophet 5 or any Prophet 10. Really an amazing synthesizer and true to the Prophet heritage. Not only do you get the 4 digital oscillators combined with the analog type technology, you do also have 2 different LFO groups which are pretty substantial, with of course saw, square, but there's also ramp and random. So you can modulate any one of these patches with 2 different LFOs doing 2 different things at the same time. Pretty outstanding there. Not only do you have standard keyboard mode all across the 61 keys, you do have double and you have split mode, which is kind of unique, although you probably already guessed it. By doing that, the polyphony gets cut. So what I tend to do is use like a bass patch on the lower half, and I'll use maybe a pad or a brass patch on the upper half. Totally capable of all of that. Also on board is a chorus section, which to me is good, it's decent, but it doesn't really have that chorusy kind of thing that, say, a Juno 60 might have had. To me, it's a little weak on the chorus section, but still pretty usable. If you have external effects, by all means, go for that. As you probably already know, the Prophet series, as well as any Sequential Circuits keyboard of back in the day, just had an amazing sounding filter. And this is no exception. It definitely sounds thick, full, and robust with awesome sweeps to go. On top of that, the LFO can drive the filter section to give you some pretty cool modulation effects. And a lot of these patches that are on board do utilize that. You also have a pretty amazing arpeggiator, by the way, which is a little limiting, but what it does sonically is pretty powerful. I tend to use it a lot for bass lines. Really killer on that for sure. Okay, let's talk about the Achilles heel for this Prophet. If you've seen any other Prophet from back in the day, the Prophet 600, the Prophet 10, Prophet 5, it's pretty much laden with knobs all across the top panel to augment real time. Where this one really does not. This was more of like kind of an late 80s design, early 90s-ish. And you only have one data entry slider to manipulate every single one of these parameters. So the way it operates essentially is, say for example, I went to the filter. I would then choose which parameter I wanted to adjust, say for example the cutoff or the resonance, and I would use this data entry slider to change it. The cool thing about this slider is that if you're doing a filter sweep with it, say for example playing live, it's not really stepped and it's not grainy. It's a pretty smooth data entry slider, which is kind of unique for a lot of synthesizers that had this functionality. So It's kind of a drag to kind of program something like this real time. To me, it's more of a studio board. You know, you sit down with it, you create some awesome patches at your leisure, because this will take a lot more time than usual. But once you have it locked in and you store your presets, you're good to go for the live gig. Now that we've talked about the Prophet VS and how it really kind of operates, let's move on to something fun. Let's hear some of these patches. Some of these patches I'm going to play are factory presets and some are custom built. I hope you enjoy them. Thanks for joining me today, looking at this awesome Sequential Circuits Prophet VS. Be sure to check us out online at alamomusic.com. There's going to be a lot more videos to come, some really amazing synthesizers coming up. I hope you tune in and check back with us. I'm Roland Bettis, Alamo Music, San Antonio, Texas. Thanks for watching.